Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
Hello and welcome to a very special feature here on Travel Market Life. As we explore the luxury travel and hospitality market, we'll be looking at what makes luxury today and traveller expectations, what goes into the service of luxury, how luxury travel products are adapting, the role of technology, and how to sell luxury today. I'm joined by a number of luxury experts. These include Becky Lukovic, luxury travel advisor with over 20 years of experience across adventure travel, bike trips, wine and gourmet-centric vacations. She's a founder of Bella Travel, which provides travellers with unique custom itineraries. Christopher Hill, founder of Hands Up Holidays and Impact Destinations. He's a pioneer of luxury volunteer travel. Over the last 19 years, he's been creating travel experiences that combine luxury with impactful service projects, from relocating rhinos in South Africa to tracking snow leopards in India. His trips go beyond traditional tourism. Catt McLeod, VP of Brand Development, Elegant Hotels. With over 25 years' experience and a fellow of the Institute of Hospitality, Catt has built her career as a commercial leader for hotels worldwide. She leads Elegant Hotel Collection Global Movement that promotes and protects the people and places that are embracing the art of authentic luxury hospitality. Douglas Waddell, Hotel Strategic Advisor, the former COO of Handpicked Hotels. Douglas has a background working with renowned brands such as Thistle Hotels and Esporta Health and Fitness. He is chairman of Bitelux and director of hospitality for Procurement Partners. Priscilla Haryadi, the area managing director, Northern Europe, where she is responsible for the growth and retention of over 70 member hotels across the area for Preferred Hotels and Resorts, which represents the finest and most diverse global portfolio of independent hotels and independent hotel experiences. One thing we know is that luxury has been moving at fast pace over the last few years, with so many different definitions of what represents luxury. So I first went to Becky to ask her, how would you define what luxury is today?
Luxury, that term has really changed over the last 10 to 15 years. So today's luxury is highly personal. It's not just this white tablecloth, inauthentic vanilla experience. Luxury today, people want connection. They want to experience other cultures, other cuisines. It's paying attention. Luxury is paying attention to what their interests are. And so luxury, kind of another L, I don't want to be hokey or anything, but luxury is like listening. It's listening to the traveler, to what their expectations are, what are their priorities, and it's taking that into account. And to me, that's what makes a truly luxurious travel experience. It's not just a 5-star hotel. It's more than that. It's people being seen.
Very interesting, because that almost seems like luxury can take so many different levels and different forms, and it depends on the traveller. That listening aspect can get incredibly noisy sometimes, I imagine, for advisors. So when it comes to listening, what are some of the key items or key areas that traveller expectations have particularly changed around luxury?
I mean, I think what has changed is how people advise their travelers. There's a lot more question asking going on, and the truly professional, like really experienced travel advisors are getting down into the weeds of, culinary expectations of, what pacing, do you want to go? Do you want to just kind of chill a little? Finding out the why for this particular trip, even beyond, okay, I've known them for 10 years. I could plan their travel in my sleep. But it's like, okay, what draws you to Tanzania? What draws you to Cambodia? What are you wanting to experience? And so I think that's part of that listening process is it's becoming a true consultation as opposed to a, hey, I have this luxury package to send you, or hey, I'm going to send you to this hotel and a private guide and I'm out. So I think it's become deeply personal.
I mean, it is fascinating that, with the rise of self-booking and also now ChatGPT being able to provide you full itineraries based on some of your interests, we are still seeing more and more people go to travel advisors and
Mhm.
do their bookings direct through them. Why is that? In a world of technology, it should be simple. It should be easy. Why can't we just leave it to the tech systems to do it for us?
That's a fantastic question because, I love me some Chat GPT. I've actually named mine Pietro. And so Pietro loves me. He gets me. He hears me. I love Pietro. Here's the deal though. So Chat GPT can listen to you. It can learn you. It can make recommendations. But of course, recommendations are based off of, as we all know, internet scraping. So for example, yesterday I was looking for some intel for something and I thought, oh, I'm just gonna ask Pietro, aka ChatGPT, something about this hotel just to see if I could just do like a quick easy as opposed to deep diving. And it was about a pool situation. And he was totally wrong. I'm like, dude, you're wrong. But here's really, really the reason is when you arrange your travel through a person. You have a person. You can text me if something is awry, if there's a train strike, if you miss your airplane connection, you have a person to say, "Hey Bex, my flight's been delayed. How do I get there now?" You can ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT, my flight's been canceled. What should I do? But you can't call ChatGPT. They're not gonna fix it for you. They're just gonna look at some, message boards and tell you how to do it yourself. You don't have a person to be your cheerleader, your advocate, your bulldog to make things happen. You don't have that with technology. You can't call Google and say, "Google, there's a problem." But you can call me. You can call my colleagues.
And there's something that you did mention earlier, this idea of personal connection brings that authenticity. That luxury is about that authenticity at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't feel when you're speaking to some sort of bot. There is
Yeah.
that almost wall between you and this thing, this entity. So, how do you, as a travel professional, alongside your other advisors, really try to understand the quality of that product that you're selling?
The number one, I feel travel advisors, when you get to a certain level, you have to really have some skin in the game. Just coming back from a 3-week trip in Southeast Asia, I mean, we definitely had skin in the game. This wasn't this trip wasn't I we didn't go on the cheap, I guess is what I want to say. We used my partners, we used my hotel partners. I paid retail for several. And so I think sometimes you have to have skin in the game and you have to experience things even if it cost a pretty penny. The other thing is, again, back to my partners. I trust my partners. I trust the advice they give me. Usually, my really best partners, there's an element of candor between us. And then I have my colleagues. So I have several people on speed dial who I can call, text, WhatsApp, and say, "Hey, I know you just came from this place, and I saw that you were there, and my travelers were thinking about this. What do you think?" And sometimes they'll be like, "Yeah, it's great," and sometimes they're like, maybe not." But I have created this community around me where we can ask each other those things. And to me, as someone in the travel industry, those people are worth their weight in gold because they ask me the same. And so it's a very symbiotic relationship. I'm not just necessarily just going to any, Facebook board and asking. I'm asking people I know, like, and trust. What do you think? If I don't have the answer myself.
I do find it fascinating that no matter how far technology advances, the travel and hospitality industry continues to be a people's game,
Yep.
and requiring those relationships. So now looking at luxury, what is striking you as surprising yet exciting?
You know, the surprising yet exciting thing to me is the amount of solo travel going on. And it just keeps growing. And it's surprising to me because, again, looking back 10 years ago, it wasn't as much of a thing. Solo travel was for those people who, had all the chutzpah and all that, but they weren't necessarily even doing luxury. They were, or we didn't have all the options that we can present to a solo traveler. And these days, it just seems like the options of a solo traveler just has expanded. I mean, you can always just go get a hotel and get a private guide and all that, but it's a little different when you're a solo traveler, especially a solo woman traveler. You're thinking about, safety. It's like, what the heck do you do, for dinner? To me, the meal times are the hardest. It's like, what do you do for dinner? Now we have platforms like Time Left where you can have dinner with five strangers, and when you travel, you can just go do that. So to me, that is so super exciting that people, especially women my age and in their 50s and beyond, are going, I want to go here. And if none of my people are going, I'm doing it. I'm going. And I just love that.
That's fantastic. And certainly we've covered quite a bit on Travel Market Life around solo travelers and particularly women solo travelers. So it's great to know that there is so much options out there for people. Well, Becky Lukovic, thank you very much for your time. It's been great to get the insight from you on your experiences on luxury travel. And I understand if they want to get more information, it's mybellatravel.com.
Yes, sir. Sure is.
Excellent. Well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
So as I mentioned before, luxury is massively changing. There are a huge array of products that are available on the market. So I spoke to Christopher Hill, the founder of Hands Up Holidays and Impact Destinations, about the unique product that he has on the market for luxury travel.
Hi, Ryan. Firstly, Hands Up Holidays is our offering that is a luxury combination of tailor-made curated sightseeing with an aspect of hands-on giving back and primarily focused on families, but certainly not exclusively so. Impact Destinations is, in a sense, kind of an evolution of that, in that the idea is that in contrast to Hands Up Holidays, it's a traveler's philanthropic donation, which will enable the experts to do what they do best, and yet at the same time unlock a unique experience for the traveler.
It's fascinating how luxury is adapting and changing, and how you sort of identified a moment in the market for really creating a deeper, meaningful connection between the travelers and the destinations that they're going to. Can you tell us about how you sort of started to develop and combine that idea of luxury with this impactful service projects that obviously have always been perhaps a slightly different perspective of sort of travel and exploring the world?
Yeah, it might be helpful just to give a little bit of my own story of how it all came about, which was I was living in London. I was 6 years into working in investment banking at the time, and I took a trip to South Africa. And on that trip, in addition to going on safari and staying at beautiful luxury lodges and exploring the wonders of Cape Town and the garden route and the winelands and so on, I also helped to build a house for a family in one of the townships. And this just enriched the whole travel experience so much for me in two main ways. One, it enabled me to actually interact with the local people and gain insights into their lives and share stories with them. And then secondly, it felt great to actually to make a difference in the life of the family and provide them with a decent place to live. And so this was all done still in staying in a beautiful luxury accommodation in Cape Town. And I got thinking, well, I've learned some good business skills. Why don't I put in something I find a bit more meaningful and fulfilling, and make it easy for other travelers to have similar experiences? And so for me, it was really, and this has really continued right through, having that the luxury component is the gateway for people to have these experiences who don't want to have to rough it, in a nutshell.
So tell us about some of the examples of the kinds of trips and projects that you have available for people.
Yeah, sure. Well, I've touched on it. I'm a big fan of the building ones, and so I'll share a couple of those. One would be helping to install a disabled accessible bathroom for a paraplegic in Bali, and these are really special in that it's unique from our perspective, in that the benefit really accrues just to one person, the paraplegic, but the impact on that person's life in this area of, something so personal, such as, going to the bathroom, the independence they get and the dignity is just so profound that it's one of my favorites. Another is installing eco-friendly stoves, which we offer in a few countries, in Belize, in Peru, and in India. And these are great because they're very tangible in terms of being able to finish them in just a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and you can, right from start to finish. A family or a small group, even a couple, can get these done. And the beauty of them is that they replace the open flames, and so incidences of burns are greatly reduced. And because they have a chimney, respiratory problems are dramatically reduced, and they're much more environmentally friendly. So from an environmental perspective, they're a win as well. And then thirdly, another favorite of mine would be in Argentina, where we offer being able to create solar heating for a family using recycled bottles and cans.
Getting your hands dirty and luxury aren't two things that typically go together. So what then, when you're compiling these and curating these ideas of projects, do you then meet those traveler expectations of luxury? What is the luxury element there involved?
Well, luxury is still at a minimum, it's what people would every day expect in terms of the level of service and comfort. And uh, and because we use the luxury lodges and five-star hotels that everyone uses, more or less, I would sort of extend the definition of luxury to include the freedom to choose to connect with your loved ones, and with the wider environment, and even with the wider community that you're in as well. And so it's that connection that we would overlay the conventional sense of luxury with, and on top of that, we'd overlay that with sustainability principles, and so that goes through the hotels that we lead with are those that are very strong in their design principles and the way that they're run from a sustainability perspective, and then equally we we take a holistic approach to the whole itinerary, and so things like favoring restaurants that source organic food and source their food locally. And part of our philosophy is to only use local guides. And then where possible, we use environmentally friendly, sustainable forms of transportation, still at that luxury level. Think Tesla, for example. So that's what, for me, luxury is that freedom to choose and connect and being sustainable.
And now, coming from a sales side, I'd be very interested. What advice do you give to the industry on being able to, successfully sell luxury in today's market?
Well, I'm biased. We're operating in this really small niche, and I think that's one beauty of travel in general, and even luxury and travel in particular, that there's something for everybody. There is still the flip and flop holiday that people can take, and there is a place for that. Um, but o- on the other hand, and this is where we really thrive, is around, if someone is thinking more sustainably, or they're thinking about that legacy, or wanting to make a difference, or bonding with their kids and so on, or inspiring their kids to be future world changers, then our little niche of luxury shines forth, and so it's a way to experience luxury. I love it, and do it as much as I can. But as I say, it's one slice of a big pie.
Excellent. Christopher, thank you ever so much for joining us today and contributing to our luxury episode.
Oh, it's an honor. Thank you so much, Ryan.
From bespoke luxury traveller itineraries to pioneering luxury volunteer travel, let's move to the world of hospitality. Catt McLeod, Vice President of Brand Development, explains what the offer is from Elegant Hotels Collection.
Elegant Hotel Collection is a collection of independent luxury hotels celebrated for their originality, creativity, and commitment to crafting authentic experiences. It's a portfolio deeply rooted in luxury, but also uniquely distinguishable by its wonderful diversity.
You've only been really in market now for a couple of years. So how are you seeing luxury changing?
Well, the Elegant Hotel Collection was really brought to market to cater to this change in luxury that we've seen over recent years, because we've really seen a move from a focus on materialism, excess, opulence, old school luxury, to guests now seeking experiences, and experiences that align with their lifestyle, their aspirations, and their personal interests. So personalisation is the new currency. Time, space, and privacy, authentic experiences are the ultimate luxuries. And sustainability is a core social marker in luxury now. And travelers are really increasing luxury to meet community and social good now, that giving back is part of the new luxury. So they're looking for tailored stays around their interests, and that includes culture, architecture, sports, adventure, gastronomy.
Ooh, there's a lot in there, isn't there? I mean, that seems to make me feel like the expectations of travelers is just skyrocketing. There's a lot for hoteliers to have to think about. So you've gone through really a lot of sort of lifestyle experiential offerings that hotels need to think about. And when they're on site, what's sort of that hospitality service that travelers are expecting today?
Travelers are expecting a smooth, seamless experience. Buying and encountering, experiencing luxury travel should be a joy, it should be a pleasure. So, really, everything from that initial freedom of choice and consistency and flexibility around research and booking channels, that's really important in setting that brand promise, that then when they are on property, that they're experiencing those promises that have been made. They're experiencing the unique things that they've been promised. So a great example of this is the Between the Covers TV book club collaboration with Exclusive Collection. And this brings an exclusive opportunity for guests to be part of an iconic book club in the glorious surroundings at Penny Hill Park. So that's something for people who are interested in books, maybe a little bit of stardust from the celebrities there as well, but also to be then having the joy of, looking forward to this trip, but also then the experience on site, which is going to be memorable. It's going to be Instagrammable. It's going to be something that they can perhaps buy something on site that they are going to have as a memento of that trip. We're seeing a lot of luxury hotels really leaning into the enhanced amenities which guests can then buy and take home with them.
So you've really got to have a head for luxury. There's a lot of demands there from the travelers. But how is the profile of the luxury traveler changing? Is it all about the rich and famous?
Well, certainly not. And maybe many of them want to be, but also for many of the travelers who are seeking a luxury travel experience, They're looking for exclusivity, privacy, exclusive access, and private moments. And so the travelers, we're seeing an increasing demographic of those older Gen Zs now who are moving into their more high net worth time of life. We have the Henrys, the high earners who are not rich yet. They are seeking those luxury experiential trips that align with their aspiration to be high earners as they get older. We're seeing a huge diversity of backgrounds and countries of origin, and particularly here in Scotland, we see amongst the luxury properties travellers from the Middle East, Asia. India is a very strongly growing market. We're also seeing luxury traveller increasing in the multi-generational space. So family groups together with perhaps grandparents, parents and children traveling together. So luxury hotels that are catering in a really inclusive way to those family groups are doing very well, but they're not frivolous. They are high spenders, but they're not frivolous. They are conscientious spenders, and they want to know that what they're spending is contributing to community, contributing to conservation, and also that it has a value. They're willing to pay more for what matters to them and the things that match their aspirations and the value that they place perhaps on more dedicated service.
Now, finally, Catt, I mean, we've been looking in this episode really in and around how luxury should be sold. How do you view luxury should be sold to really grab the right customer?
Luxury travel sales is all about storytelling, giving the booker, the travel agent, the travel advisor the confidence to book their guests into a trusted hotel, arming the travel agent with the experiences, letting them focus on what is going to meet the desires of their guests, and really highlighting any exclusivity, highlighting those exclusive agent passes and access to insider deals, which perhaps only the travel advisor can provide to their agents, and really working with those travel advisors.
Excellent, Catt. Thank you ever so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ryan. It's been a pleasure.
From one luxury hospitality provider to another, let's speak to Priscilla Haryadi from Preferred Hotels and Resorts about how they distinguish their collections.
So we have within Preferred Hotel, we have 4 different collection. We have a lifestyle LVX residence. We have a distinct collection called the Legend Collection, which really highlight the top end luxury. And in 2024, we actually hit the 100 number. So we have over 100 properties under the Legend Collection out of our 600 properties worldwide. And our Legend Collection is just gaining momentum these days. So just this year, we have Armani Hotel in Milan joining us under the Legend Collection. We have the Al Habtoor Palace in Budapest, Al Habtoor Palace in Dubai. We have the Artisan Singapore. We have 8 of the Virgin Limited Edition that is also part of our Legend Collection. And I think the growth or the popularity of the Legend Collection is really gaining momentum because the new definition of luxury. So I think our Legend Collection really embodied this new luxury that I know we'll talk a little bit more about it later.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely fascinating through the conversations that I'm having during this episode, how luxury is evolving, and particularly in hospitality. So clearly, Preferred Hotels and Resorts has identified how to develop and tap into this. So what are you seeing? What's the shifts you're seeing there at Preferred when it comes to luxury?
You know, Ryan, when I started back in the days, when I started my career in hospitality over 25 years ago, luxury was all about opulence. You know, it's about display of wealth, lavishness. It's about material indulgence. Crystal, if you are a luxury property, you need to have a crystal chandelier in the lobby. is almost a must-have. Champagne and caviar is a welcome amenities. It's a standard of the welcome amenities. It doesn't matter if you're vegan, you'll get your caviar anyway. And then you have this long 10-meter long breakfast buffet that probably half of it goes to waste. But that was luxury. That was the symbol of luxury back in the days. And over the years, over the past decades, I think luxury has gone through a big transformation. I think luxury is now defined by experience. You know, so this long breakfast buffet has now become an a la carte buffet with curated menu. The welcome amenities is personalized according to your preference. And in the recent years, they're even more focused into the elevation of experience. So people are looking more and more into a once in a lifetime experience, a legacy defining moments. Why? The reason why Preferred Hotel and Resorts, we actually just launched a couple of weeks ago our private jet experience. And this is a legendary journey of 17 nights. Hear me that, where they onboard you into a luxurious private jet with all the perks that you can imagine, visiting the world's most extraordinary destinations. So, from sipping a sunset cocktail on the rooftop of the Fullerton Bay in Singapore, visiting Taj Mahal, overnight in the Leela Palace in Jaipur, be part of a royal wedding celebration in India. I mean, how unique is that?
Absolutely. It sounds like the eight wonders of the world there, Priscilla.
Yeah. And then again, you continue your journey, getting a little bit more adventurous, doing the gorilla trekking in Rwanda. And then you close again with a beautiful sunset sailing in Santorini, and then end up in London, where staying at the Londoner, where you get really an exclusive tour of the world's most iconic landmark. I mean, those are a legacy moments that we are creating and we are put forth for our industry.
I mean, we are seeing economic shifts. One in particular was that MasterCard at the Elephant Connects conference was talking about such the increase in spend on experiences. When I was at the annual hospitality conference, some of the data we saw there was the increase in revenue, particularly in the luxury or high luxury segment compared to other hospitality segments. So that clearly goes back to one of the key points you mentioned at the beginning. Luxury is no longer about wealth and opulence. So how is the profile of the luxury traveler changing?
I think the profile, travelers today are becoming more financially savvy. The spending is increasing. They do want to spend. They're happy to spend a lot, but it's a well thought spend. Good value for money. They're also a loyalty driven. So even the high net worth individual, they use loyalty program to maximize their value. Right? They're financially savvy, so they don't want to be taken for granted just because they have the spending power. They want to know that they are really getting the experience that they desire. Which is why loyalty program like our loyalty program, I Prefer Hotel Rewards, are gaining momentums and recognition across the globe. We now have over 6 million members of affluent travelers worldwide, and we are the largest loyalty program for independent hotels. And I think another one that they're really looking for is today. Well, if we look at the demographic, the generation with the biggest spending power is the Generation X. So between the age of 46 to 60 years old, my generation, and we are the caretaker of the world. We are responsible for three generation: parents, children, grandchildren, and for those lucky one, you still have grandparents. So multi-generational travel is also big, and that changed as well the profile of the luxury traveler. They're looking into bigger family-oriented traveling, and on top of that, in the luxury world, this multi-general traveler are really looking for this legacy moment, this one of lifetime experience, the bucket list experience, because they want to make sure that they can create the family story, family memories to share together.
Now, there is clearly demand for luxury, and there is so much on the table for offering, as we've just discussed. But there's obviously a need to communicate that value at the same time. What advice do you give to selling luxury and how it should be sold most effectively for your travelers really to have the experience and to be ready and excited about their trip?
I think luxury should be sold with purpose. I think this is where a travel advisor play an important role in curating the journey and the experience. A great travel advisor will first get to know you, understand what you need, your preference, understand your level of adventure. How adventurous are you into doing this different experience, right? So that they can curate the journey and the experience for you. It should also be sold. I think this is very important. I think luxury should be sold. It should be a long-term relationship. You don't sell luxury just for one occasion, one moment. It should be something long-lasting. It shouldn't be transactional. That makes sense. It should be emotional. It should make you feel connected. Again, connected to the place, to the people, the product, the culture, the destination. It should create this a deep connection, long-lasting memory that you share with your friends, your peer, your loved one. And for me, that's luxury.
Priscilla, thank you ever so much for all your insights and sharing with us about preferred hotels and resorts.
Thank you, Ryan.
And finally, I went to speak to Douglas Waddell, a hotel strategic advisor who's worked very closely with hoteliers, particularly across the UK, and hand-picked hotels, about what is he seeing change, particularly in the market.
The biggest thing I've seen change is that the number of luxury offerings has increased exponentially. I think the reason for that is that the world has become so experience-led, and the luxury market has responded by expanding to cope with that increased demand. I think hospitality standards are being driven up across every segment, but luxury has led the way. And I think it's genuinely making everybody, no matter which segment you're in, raise your game. So the change in luxury, I think, has been so positive for the hospitality industry.
So, from a business leader actually with a luxury product, where are those influences coming from for where and how the expectation of luxury, how that needs to adapt? What are those influences? Is it from the consumer? Is it from other economies, other sort of industries that are really sort of pushing that expectation up?
So I think the customer is so much more traveled and so much more experienced now than they perhaps were 15 or 20 years ago. So they've seen examples of luxury worldwide. And so that's been happening at pace. And if I just talk about the UK, the development of the luxury hotel sector in London is just been phenomenal. When you think about the brands that were not in London and now are in London offering luxury experiences, and but then multiply that across the UK, the luxury market has exploded.
Do you think it's difficult for some businesses to actually keep up then and adapt? What is the best way that they can make sure that they're on trend, so to speak, for luxury?
That's such a good question in the sense that being on trend can be difficult and expensive. But the great thing to me about luxury is, yes, the product's got to be good, but the service has to be differentiated in such a way. And you know what? You can do that in a relatively cost-effective manner. If you have to change a total product, that is exceptionally expensive. But just respecking the service delivery in your business, you can do in an effective manner. And you can also do it regularly, just refreshing, just tweaking, altering, just changing the guest experience. So I think there is lots of things operators can do without committing, millions and millions of pounds.
So what's the role of technology then? I mean, if you're talking about service, Does technology really have a part to play here?
It does. And I like to think of it as clever tech. And tech is not a boogeyman in the luxury segment. It's got to be using technology in a way that gives the guest a choice, but without increasing the burden on hotel staff. So there's clever ways that tech can help. Tech must be used as an enabler. And the way I like to think about it is, if I can deploy tech in a luxury environment, doing something that then frees up a member of staff to improve the overall guest experience, what not to like?
What do consumers expect then from digital experiences with a luxury hotel?
The consumer expects a service that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, irrespective of time zones. And if I think about what we're doing at BiteLux, we're applying technology supported by AI to do exactly that. We can create a persona, we can train that persona, and it can absolutely deal with guest requests, guest inquiries at any stage of the day or night. And that has got to be good for the guest and also good for the hotel.
Where can you see the further developments of technology within luxury? Do you see on the horizon anywhere that it's going to be perhaps further supporting hoteliers deliver that service perhaps throughout the hotel, or other ways in which it will be front-facing for the consumer?
So I'm a really strong believer that it's really important when you're talking about luxury that you give the guest a choice. You can never force the guest down a particular route. So tech should not be forced on the guest that they've got to download an app to do it. So it's got to be, I think I like to say, clever tech. Yeah. And I genuinely think that people will continue to become more comfortable. And the quality of the AI and the tech now is becoming really difficult to differentiate between what is a human interaction and what is a tech interaction, an AI interaction. So I genuinely see the footprint of where you can apply it becoming bigger. I'm also a really strong advocate for getting the balance right. And if I think about the best luxury experience I've had, it's been because an individual made a specific effort. But just think about if we can use tech to make sure that individual has more time to create memorable experiences for guests. Oh my goodness me. That's got to be the way forward.
Douglas, thank you ever so much for your thoughts today and for sharing those insights.
It's my pleasure. Very, very good to see you, Ryan. Thank you.
Well, that sums up my special feature on luxury travel and hospitality and how things are changing, and a way in which you can make sure you can capitalize on the products and the trends that are happening in the market. If you've got a particular feature you'd like me to explore, or if you've got some insights, please don't hesitate to contact me, team@travelmarket.life, or just drop me an email, or just drop me a message through LinkedIn. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Ryan Haynes. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music Sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.